We just got up to 2.7 in the new Archon Interlude quest, Act 2, the Perilous Trail, which I enjoyed a lot. It's our second Archon Interlude quest, and it also takes place in Liyue, so it just keeps making me believe that the lore in Liyue is likely the most relevant to the main plot. We had a relatively diverse set of characters, which contributed to fun, intriguing, and meaningful dialogue. I think that the promo art used for the quest and event is pretty reflective of what we experience. The goofiness of Itto is very present, as he is easily the most charismatic of the group, where he's the center of many comedic reliefs. Alongside him, we get introduced to Kuki Shinobu, learning more about her and her relationships to both Itto and Yanfei. I'm super excited when she comes out on the next banner. Our other new character, Yelan, stands present at the center, kind of like how she's a spider at the center of her web and threads of knowledge, weaving her way in and out of scenes and conversations. What I found most eye-catching in the art is Xiao, who uses up the most space in the art, and especially that melancholic and regretful expression of his that we've never seen before from him. And after finishing this quest, I see that his expression here is pretty representative of his character growth during the quest. The premise of the quest revolves around the chasm, which had previously been sealed for a long time. Due to its many secrets, we have various visitors wanting to uncover these secrets, which is what brings our cast of characters together. The Traveler and Paimon want to reinvestigate the mysterious nail they saw previously. Yanfei wants to find the fantastic compass as part of a will. Itto and Shinobu want to help Yanfei because Yanfei got them out of trouble earlier. Yelan wants to figure out the truth behind the monster invasion from Conria. And finally, Xiao wants to find out what happened to Bosacius, whose body was never found. And everything intertwines when they all fall further below in an area below the chasm. I don't think we've seen anywhere as weird of a place as this, because literally time and space are literally warped, where the flow of time is different to everyone, and places just keep looping back to one another. Paimon thinks it's been 20 days, whereas Traveler thinks it's only been about 1, and yet they don't even feel hungry. Even though Xiao is in the area, he's unable to hear the Traveler's call to him, so the power in this place bypasses even that of an Adeptus Yaksha. It's stated that this place existed as far back as the chasm, which makes it at least 6,000 years old. It's interesting that it's such an unknown area despite the fact that it's literally right under the chasm. The mirror door that the crew encounters kinda reminds me of a boggart from Harry Potter, since it tends to show what one is afraid of. It's able to read minds and project uncomfortable memories from the past, such as Itto's past memories of being discriminated against because of him being an Oni, and Shinobu's dislike for being told by her family to become a shrine maiden. I'm excited to learn more about Shinobu when we get her hangout quest, by the way. We learn that the Traveler seems to fear the emptiness of the Abyss because that's what took their twin away. This was surprising to me because I don't think it was known that the Abyss took away our sibling per se. Instead, it was the unknown god that took her twin away, and we just happened to see that her twin aligned themselves with the Abyss later on. Maybe I'm looking too much into it, but I feel that our twin is with the Abyss by choice. One last thought about this scene is that it felt a little convenient that Paimon didn't want to open the door because she was scared. I suppose Hoyoverse doesn't want to reveal any Paimon lore just yet. I like that Yanfei is the one to find a loophole with this chaotic space, since she's probably used to finding loopholes in the law when doing her duties as a lawyer. It makes this space even more absurd because the beings inside it can also use their own imaginations against it. I can see how this power in space could be very desirable to forces like the Abyss Order or the Fatui, maybe even Celestia as well. In fact, I'm inclined to think that the powers at work here are related to Celestia somehow. As Yelan tells us later on, during the Cataclysm, the monsters of Conria appeared at the chasm to attack, and then we later find out that the monsters became weak in this area, which goes in line with what we saw in the previous Archon quest, where Dainsleif and the former people of Conria felt their curse weakened while in the chasm. And as Yelan says later on, there's got to be some kind of connection with the higher order powers of the world. So I think that as we learn more about the Primordial One, we'll see connections between them and the chasm. Once we rendezvous with Xiao, there's clear disapproval towards Xiao's self-sacrificial attitude. As a Yaksha, he only knows how to fight, and is always quick to put his life on the line no matter what. It's clear that because Xiao's had this attitude for eons, it's not easy to convince him that his life also has worth. I think that we eventually see character development from Xiao because the group of people he's with here are similar to him, and so it's easier for him to understand where they're coming from. In particular, Ito and Yelan. The three of them have the similarity of being survivors of some kind. With Ito, he's one of the very few remaining Onis, and has had trouble integrating with humans due to discrimination. With Yelan, as Yanfei tells us, she's lost comrades in the past and was rescued herself, which can be a type of survivor's guilt in itself. And Xiao is the last of the Guardian Yakshas. While Xiao has stayed isolated, Yelan and Ito see the value of having comrades and people they can count on, because they don't have to do everything alone. This makes sense why they're very disapproving of Xiao's thoughts to handle things himself. I think Xiao considers this, but it's no more than a mere consideration, at least at the moment. Xiao tells us that he's looking for the Guardian Yaksha Bosacius, as he was the only Guardian Yaksha whose body wasn't found. Looking back at Xiao's backstory, he's essentially lost all his family, friends, and comrades, so he's very much invested in any clues about Bosacius' whereabouts. As the last remaining Yaksha, he feels responsible to find out what happened to Bosacius, as it seems like it'd be the last loose end in his long life of suffering from karmic debt. It's pretty sad because after Yanfei explains to Xiao what a will is, Xiao is quick to want to make his own will because he thinks getting the others out of this place will be his final will. I like that Yelan calls him out for this tough guy act of his, trying in her own way to tell Xiao that his life matters. I like that she sees through Xiao here, as is relevant with her banner title, Discerner of Enigma. In fact, everyone in their own way emphasizes this to Xiao, that everyone is important, that self-sacrifice isn't always the only method to fix a problem, that people can rely on and depend on others sometimes. The mechanism behind using the Fantastic Compass is also a way of showing this. In order to be used, the compass needs both Adepti and mortal powers, which is an indication to Xiao that, sometimes help is needed. The cutscene where they try to use the compass to escape is just fantastic. It was dope seeing everyone protect Xiao from the souls that attempted to stop them. Just as it appears that Xiao isn't able to maintain the energy flow, he uses the last of his energy to transfer everyone else outside, effectively sacrificing himself. But fortunately, our favorite walking encyclopedia comes to Xiao's aid at the last second. While Xiao did end up trying to sacrifice himself much to the others' disapproval, he acknowledges that everyone else's help was necessary. As he talks with the traveler and Paimon outside Pervasi's temple, Paimon tells him about Ushi's words, that even though Yakshas can bring danger to others, they can still coexist and help each other. This was the exact mindset of the other Guardian Yakshas, and it's now a mindset that Xiao is beginning to understand and accept. I really like that Xiao's character growth here is gradual and not rushed. He's had this deeply rooted mindset for eons, so it makes sense to me that it'll take a while for him to get out of it. The story scene with Bosacius and Boyang was so emotional, even though I hardly know these characters. There is just something so powerful about seeing Boyang, a human, help Bosacius resurface some of his memories and feelings about his family, his fellow Guardian Yakshas. I think one of the reasons this scene hits hard is because we are seeing the lives of the Yakshas that Xiao considered family, and we know that they're gone now. I don't know them, but just from these brief moments, I can tell how close all of them were, and how much they cared for each other. Which is why it sucks knowing that most of them met their demise due to karmic debt. since it adds so much more weight as to how much Xiao is suffering today from his own karmic debt. It's clear to me that Xiao wouldn't be suffering as much as he is today if he still had his fellow Yakshas. So even though Bosacius lost his sanity, I'm happy that he's able to recall them and his own name, that even in the end, he feels that he's with his family. I'm happy that in Bosacius's and Boyang's final moments, they were able to recollect their memories about their own families. As the Traveler says, they're heroes. They both worked together to fight off the monsters of the Cataclysm by sealing off the entrance to that strange area. It's pretty poetic how Bosacius and Boyang sealed the area, and it was Bosacius's fellow Yaksha, Xiao, and Boyang's descendant, Yelan, they were able to unseal it. It's in my headcanon that because Alatus is the first name that Bosacius recalls, it's symbolism that shows that Xiao understood that Bosacius died knowing that he still had his family. Overall, a very enjoyable Archon quest. Even though this Interlude quest didn't move the Seven Nations plot forward, its expansion of the lore makes the journey that much better. This was a great Archon quest that expanded on the lore of the Chasm and of the Cataclysm 500 years ago. I'm glad that we saw fun interactions between our cast of characters and the small, yet significant character growth that Xiao went through. That even though he has resolution on his last loose end regarding Bosacius' fate, he still continues moving forward, which I'm sure would make Bosacius and the other Guardian Yakshas happy to see. So yeah, another fantastic Archon quest, and as always looking forward to the next. Thank you for watching.